This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Chapter 2 of Codependency, Breaking the Pattern, where we're digging into how our earliest experiences shape the patterns we're living with today. We'll explore how things like family dynamics, childhood roles, and early relationships planted the seeds for codependent behaviors that might still be running your life as an adult. Let's get into it. About half of adults quietly carry at least one serious childhood wound. Yet many still say, "My childhood was fine." In this episode, we'll step into those fine families, calm dinners, good report cards, and look for the tiny moments where codependency first takes root. Maybe your home had no screaming, no obvious chaos, just a quiet rule: don't rock the boat. In those families, kids often learn early that it's safer to smile than to say, "I'm scared," "I'm angry," or "I need help." A parent comes home exhausted, and you instinctively turn down your own volume. A sibling struggles, and you become the easy child who never adds to the load. These tiny adjustments don't look dramatic from the outside, but repeated often enough, they train you to scan the room for tension, smooth it over, and call that love. In this episode, we'll zoom in on those subtle moments: who was allowed to be upset, who had to be fine, and how loyalty sometimes meant disappearing parts of yourself so the family could stay together. Maybe you didn't think of your past as adverse because there was food, shelter, and maybe even affection. But research paints a wider picture of what shapes us. Emotional neglect, parentification, or growing up around addiction don't always look dramatic. They can hide inside good report cards and "we're fine" family photos. Over time, your nervous system learns that monitoring others is safer than noticing yourself. That's not a flaw in you. It's how a sensitive system adapts. A codependent adult is like a young tree staked too tightly, built for weather, but never taught its own balance. Think back to the rules that weren't written anywhere, but everyone knew. Who was allowed to slam doors, cry loudly, or refuse to talk? Who switched into helper mode the second tension appeared? Who became the storyteller, the clown, the achiever, the invisible one? Those unspoken assignments are what family therapists call roles, and they often form much earlier than we remember. You don't sit down at age 6 and decide, "I'll be the responsible one." Your brain quietly notices, when I fix things, people relax. When I need less, there's less trouble. When I smile, adults soften. So you repeat those moves until they feel like your personality. Research on adverse experiences helps explain why. In homes marked by inconsistency, moods that swing, affection that depends on performance, stress no one talks about, children start running a constant internal calculation. What keeps me safest right now? For some, that means overachieving. For others, it's being the confidant, the peacemaker, or the comic relief. On the surface, these look like strengths. Underneath, they're often early bargains. If I stay useful, I won't be abandoned. If I stay quiet, I won't be attacked. Over years, that bargain hardens into a belief system. My needs are negotiable. Their needs are urgent. If they're upset, I did something wrong. If I stop helping, I lose my value here. Notice how none of this requires a bad parent. Caregivers who are depressed, overworked, perfectionistic, sick, or managing their own trauma can unintentionally pull a child into a caretaking orbit. A parent venting to you instead of their friends. A teacher praising you for being so mature when you swallow tears. Extended family bragging that you never cause any trouble. The world keeps rewarding the parts of you that overfunction and overlooking the parts that are scared, angry, or lonely. These patterns don't vanish when you leave home. They quietly transfer to bosses, partners, friends, even your own children. You might notice you always know everyone's schedule, but no one knows yours. You remember their preferences, but stumble when someone asks, "What do you actually want?" The original stage, your childhood home, fades, but the script you were handed keeps running, line for line, inside adult situations that no longer require the same level of self-erasure. Think of three siblings at the same dinner table. One becomes the straight-A planner who organizes everyone's lives, another the late-night texter who absorbs every friend's crisis, and the third, the fun one who keeps stories light and never serious. Different flavors, same pattern. Each orbits around others so tightly that their own wants feel blurry or too much. You might notice it in tiny moments, agreeing to stay late at work even when your body hurts, answering texts during your only free hour because they'd be disappointed, saying, "I'm easy, whatever works," when asked about preferences, then feeling oddly resentful afterward. None of these choices look dramatic in isolation, but strung together, they form a quiet theme. I adjust, you stay comfortable. Adults often misread this as kindness or flexibility. Internally, though, it can feel like living 1 inch to the left of your actual life, always close to yourself, but rarely fully in contact. Screening for early stress is only a starting line. The deeper shift comes when families and systems start asking, what does this child not have to carry anymore? Tech tools, like boundary practice apps or VR assertiveness rehearsals, may become as normal as language learning software, helping kids test drive no and I need in low-risk spaces. Over time, this could move us from quietly enduring to consciously designing how we want to relate. The invitation now is gentle curiosity, noticing where old scripts still steer current choices. Like updating software, you don't erase the past, you add new options. As you experiment with small, honest no's and "this matters to me," you're not betraying anyone, you're letting more of your real self into the room, one setting change at a time. Before next week, ask yourself, where in my current life do I still feel like I'm trying to win approval from a parent, teacher, or early caregiver, and how does that show up in my work, relationships, or perfectionism today? When you get triggered, annoyed, ashamed, or extra defensive this week, pause and gently ask, if this reaction belonged to a younger version of me, how old would I be, and what did I need back then that I'm still chasing now? Before you fall asleep one night, revisit one strong childhood memory that shaped how you see yourself, being praised, criticized, ignored, or pushed, and ask, is the story I formed about myself in that moment still true? Or is it just old kid logic I've been carrying into my adult life? This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!